Hey everybody, it's Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time talking episode 17 of season 2 of Star Wars Rebels called The Forgotten Droid. And I gotta say that I didn't really care for this episode. This is one that really borderline felt like filler episode. Now, the season is almost over, so I assume the planet they find at the end of this episode is going to be this base that the Rebels have been hunting for all season. And given that he's still alive at the end of the episode, I assume AP5 is going to become a reoccurring character. So, okay, I guess that's what gives this episode relevance. But otherwise, yeah, there's just really nothing in this episode that got my interest. I mean, the closest thing really was when we were at this the base, not at the Imperial installation, which I'll give them credit was nicely designed. They got to talk. Chopper steals that droid leg from an Ugnaught, and that's of course one of the little pig guys from Cloud City that we saw in Empire Strikes Back. The Ugnaughts are kind of, in my mind, a little bit of fun. I've always gotten a bit of a kick out of them, and it was nice to see them portrayed as being able to do something besides grunt. Here, the Ugnaught got to speak, and for example, in Star Wars: The Old Republic, you do talk to some Ugnaughts, but all they do is these pig grunts. But yeah, everything else in this episode just basically seemed to be surly R2D2 and C3PO. That's basically everything else that is of any. I mean, you could basically sum that episode up with surly R2D2 and C3PO, with AP5, of course, taking on the role of C3PO. And I guess we were supposed to sort of really feel with them kind of connecting about their times in the Clone Wars, but that just seemed to happen really too fast. And a droid resisting a restraining bolt like that, I don't know, that seemed like it happened a little bit too easily for me. And I suppose this also sort of fleshes out a little bit of Chopper's history and his relationship with Hera, but it doesn't really pack a whole lot of punch in my book. Now, AP5 getting apparently killed and then being rebelled. Again, it just feels like such a cliche. I mean, this is just really not a very interesting episode. It sort of feels like they had to add that whole. This is like they had to add in this them finding the base and presumably adding in this new character to sort of make this episode feel like it had any real relevance at all. And even then, I imagine next week, if we tune in, that unless AP5 is somebody that we see on a really regular basis and not just sort of a guest character who pops up from time to time like Ketsu or Rex, I imagine he's probably going to fall into the Rex category of we see him from time to time, but not every single episode. Which, given that the sort of bickering R2D2 C3PO thing, a little bit of that goes a long way. I am totally okay with. And while I am, of course, sorry to do a really, really short review, that really just right there is everything I have to say about this episode. It feels like they just sort of hung a filler episode between two things that are apparently kind of somewhat important, but not hugely. I mean, okay, the rebels finally found that effing base they've been looking for the whole season. Whoop de la di da. I don't know. This is one of those episodes when you're watching the show, you're just like, man, I can't wait for this to be over so that I can go and watch something that I'm going to find more interesting. So I'm going to go do that right now, and I'm going to go watch Let's Plays of Stardew Valley on YouTube. So, yeah. With that said, I'm going to call it here, guys. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. And please join me as well on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Till next time, take care and have a good one.